So I'll tell you the story of my own walkout, and if anybody else has a walkout story, I would love to hear your story or any shares you have. So basically the story goes for me is I was in Egypt back in September. My friend brought forward and said, hey, I think there's a version of you that is ready to leave, is ready to walk out. I wasn't receptive to it at that time. I basically put resistance into the field, and I said, that doesn't resonate. Nope. Very masculine, right? Very like, no, I don't know what you're talking about, so no. So I resisted it. Now it's 7 months later, and I've been feeling this as I've learned about this. I've been feeling this. I was like, yeah, I feel like there is a version of me that is no longer as aligned to my path, right? I couldn't explain it. It was just a feeling that I had. There's something inside of me that doesn't feel fully harmonized, even though I've done a lot of harmonization. There's something there. And then when I learned about the walkout from JJ, part of our the practitioners, we get together, the MSI practitioners, we channel monthly. We have monthly updates, and we all channel together, and she brought through the walkout. So I heard that a few weeks ago, and typically I bring the updates to our community and I share. And ever since she brought it through a couple of weeks ago, I was like, okay, great. Here is something that I know will work for this walkout. So last night, through pure synchronicity, I was like, let me just get into the channel. So I actually got the ping to hop into my channeling session because I had been at a bonfire the night before, and the bonfire that I led is people from my healing center. We were all there together. I had gotten some intuition that said, hey, there was, Adrienne was there. She was at the bonfire too, playing her violin. I got an intuitive hit that I had an attachment from something that happened. I wasn't exactly sure. So I was like, okay, this was last night. I'm going to hop in. I'm going to look for this attachment. That's how I got there. So I get into the channel, close my eyes, put my music on. I do my normal thing that I do, and I'm looking for an attachment in my field. And the attachment that I see immediately as soon as I get into the field, call my guides in, I do all the things that I normally do. There was an attachment in my field, and it looked like a tetrahedron. So it's a four-sided triangle made out of fire. So it's the element of fire because we were sat at a bonfire. It's a four-sided triangle basically, and it's inverted. The base is at my third eye, and the point is pointing down at my throat chakra. So it's connecting my third eye to my throat chakra with an elemental tetrahedron four-sided pyramid, just a pyramid if you want to think like that. So I'm like, okay, cool, bet. I can see that, cleared that immediately, right? No problem. Like I'm a trained Reiki healer. I could do quantum healing. I cleared it out. And while I'm in there, I'm like, okay, let me look. This is where we're going with the walkout. I was like, I'm in here. Let me just look and see if there's anything else. And I'm searching my own field at this point. And then I get into my field, because typically I'm not looking in my field. My field is just there. It's like my grid. It's just doing its thing. And I'm in session, and I look, and there's a shadow. And I'm like, okay, there's a shadow in my field. But the shadow didn't feel wrong. It didn't feel right. It just was there. It was mostly opaque, dark gray. It wasn't like black or anything, but it was a dark gray shadow. And I've been channeling for this call. So I was like, okay, there's a possibility that this is walkout. So I asked, I said, is this a walkout? And I got yes. I said, okay, well, it feels like me. It doesn't feel bad or wrong. It doesn't feel like an attachment or a distortion or anything. It feels kind of like me. And then I asked, I was like, yeah, this is me. I said, okay, great. Like, this is the opportunity I've been waiting for a while. It just happened that there's a shadow here. This is an aspect of me. And on the slides, I kind of go into detail. So we're at the point now. Hey, what's up, Vincent? Just explained to them my walkout, brother. So I found this shadow in my field. I asked, and I found, okay, this shadow is me. This is a version of me that's ready to walk out. I verified, asking for consent, just like anybody, myself, for consent, basically, saying, hey, is this ready to happen? And it felt it was ready to happen. So I started out with just like pure love and gratitude, okay? Like I'm just following my intuition. I had already seen this happen, but it's been a while, it's been 7 months. So I just started with pure love and gratitude, giving this version of myself deep love, just saying, hey, thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you, for being there for me. I'm so grateful for you, like, showing up for me. I'm so grateful for all of the years that you've held me, for all the years that you were there for me, all the years that you've led me through, all of these tough times, because I had a lot of times heading into my awakening. It was just like deep gratitude, deep love, like really just so, you know what I mean? And as I'm giving it gratitude, like I'm starting to kind of get emotional, and it's kind of like overtaking me in a bit, and just how grateful I am to this version of myself, for being there for me, for allowing me to kind of awaken, for getting myself to where I am, to who I am today, this deeply spiritual person. And then I'm going through that for a while, and then as I get to a point where basically I'm pulling cards, and as I'm pulling cards, like in the session, I have cards in my hand, and I'm pulling cards, and the first card that I pull, and I'll drop it into the chat there so you guys can see, is the land between. So to me, the land between is like separation, okay? So the first card is the land between. I'm giving gratitude, I'm being thankful, I'm being super grateful. I get a tall tale, and a tall tale to me was kind of like, it's like a story, basically. It's a version, maybe it's a lie, maybe it's something that I'm attached to. That's what I took that card as. A version of myself that I'm attached to, a story or a version of myself that I was attached to at a point. And then I'm gratitude, 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 and then I pull the card, it says, let it go. The third card is like a heart, very like organic looking heart. And as I pull this card out of the deck, I start fucking bawling, dude. I cry so fucking hard, and I'm getting emotional talking about it. Like I bawled so hard, dude. I cried my eyes out for 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, and I'm like bawling uncontrollably, right? Bawling uncontrollably. It's this huge, massive energetic release that I'm having, because this is a version of myself that I'm letting go of. This is a version of myself that I'm calling into completion. This is a version of myself that I'm sending back into unity consciousness, back to wholeness, back to God, source, creator. But this is a version of myself that I've been with for my entire life. I'm 46 years old, so I don't know how long this version's been around with, but it felt like an unhealed version of myself prior to my awakening. So it's been around a long time. So I'm just like bawling, I'm crying, I'm sobbing so fucking hard, and I get myself kind of composed, 6, 7, 8, 9 minutes, and I felt like, okay, I'm at a point now, I can kind of, I want to kind of call this into completion, basically. I want to integrate this like a very aligned way. And I pulled the last card that I pulled, because I'm asking for confirmation, was a higher view. So for me, that was the confirmation that I needed, that the walkout had happened. It had returned back to, I just said like fully harmonized, back to God, source, creator, back to oneness, back to wholeness. That's kind of the intention that I'm repeating. And then I got that confirmation as well. And I did a little bit more channeling after, just kind of like sitting there in the session and just kind of showing up for myself. But I got the ping. I was like, hey, and it's on the slides here too, that the importance of having like a witness. I felt it was important to have. I'll show the cards here so you guys can see. These are the cards that I pulled, where I was telling you, like, the land between, a tall tale, let it go, and then the confirmation card that I got was a higher view, and I dropped those into the chat. But I was like, I felt the need. I was like, hey, I really wanted somebody to kind of witness this, because there is a lot of power in having somebody like witness you. So these are the kind of the steps that I took myself through, integrating. And then I reached out kind of in text. I texted a couple people who were able to reply back and kind of like witness for me. I told them, hey, something really important happened. I just didn't like need a witness. And a couple people responded, so thank you so much to them, and deep gratitude to them for replying back to me and kind of witnessing what I took myself through. I guess before we move on, I wanted to kind of like pause X here and see if you guys had any questions, anything that you wanted to share, anything that's come through for you. Maybe you put yourself through this before and you wanted to share, or what you got to say?
First of all, thank you for sharing. That's just a really beautiful, vulnerable, powerful transformation. Um, I I feel like there's been a lot, like I said, shedding this week too. But uh, I like the way that you're positioning it as a soul walkout, because I've been hearing about it in the collective through different people's posts and videos and my own kind of pondering. Um, that it's an ego death, which is another way of kind of, I think, explaining or describing that. But I've definitely felt that big time this week. I felt like I was really able to see clearly the ego that shows up with a lot of guardedness, and the part of me that's become very like hardened and defensive. As a kid, I was just super joyful. I was constantly tumbling, doing gymnastics and laughing. I was like getting sent out of the classroom because I was giggling all the time. And then there was, a point, I don't know where it started, but, through divorce and all the things that happen um, when you're a kid, and, then in all the stuff you experience as an adult, and you just become um, you protect yourself and you put that layer up. And between last week, when you were talking about like the frequency of celebration and bringing in the inner child, and I was thinking about that, and I was feeling into that, and I was like, I used to really be like that. And then I went to a kirtan last night, which is something I used to love to do. It's a yoga call and response chanting that really speaks to my heart. And they were talking about celebration as well. And I was like, what is it that's keeping me from this frequency of like being in joy and softness and, showing up with my heart? And I could just see this persona, this hardened kind of shell, on the outside, that was just layers of experience, and like this commitment to, I'm going to be tough, I'm going to be strong, I'm going to be defensive, nobody's going to put me down, or all the things that build up and calcify like limestone in our energetic field. And um it's not that I haven't known that it was there. I was just able to really see it clearly, and been seeing all these hawks flying above, like your higher view. And then um, getting this sense of like, yeah, I'm getting really that ability to see that shadow clearly so that it can be released. And then after Vincent and I chatted a little bit, like I started seeing crows everywhere. Like I just saw one like dive from a top of a tree, like straight down, and drinking from my water fountain and sitting on the rail, even to the point where my husband Jeff was like, we never have crows just like sitting right there. And so I was looking up crows, but it's really about like transformation and rebirth and magic and all these things. So there's something in the field where I feel like as these new gifts come in, like our heart really has to be open, and we've developed the tools to be able to keep our heart open and still stay protected energetically now. I think before maybe we didn't have the tools to stay open and be protected, so we fortified ourselves, but now we're so aware of like, not that we do it all the time, but we have the tools to protect our fields, to set our intentions, to clear ourselves of the negativity, to have compassion for those who, may have come at us with some unconsciousness that has hurt us. And, you know, we have the tools to let those emotions kind of move through us now. So that's what's been going on in my week.